Championship.
Just dig it. I knew that you could.
Alright.
And now it's time for another edition of the 12th Man Fan Jam. With your hosts, the Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Island Church of Seahawk Positivity.
Yes, thank you, Magic Voice. This is the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Island Church of Seahawk Positivity, and welcome one and all to a very special NFC Championship edition of the 12th Man Fan Jam, the show made up of Seahawk fans from around the world, just like you, talking about your NFC West Division champion, Seattle Seahawks. Over the next few moments we share together, we hope that you are entertained and you are enlightened as we discuss your Seattle Seahawks as they set up to face the Green Bay Packers in the NFC Championship. So sit back, relax, grab a desired beverage or sin of your choice, and remember, this Sunday it ain't easy being cheesy. As is the usual with every show, we are not alone. No, I am joined, like I am every episode, by the 12th Man Fan Jam Posse, a ragtag group of diehard Seahawk fans from around the world. First, my partner in crime, the yin to my yang. He's sometimes cheesy, and we love him for it. From merry old England, Matt. Hi, Matt.
Hello, good morning, Moses. How are you?
Matt, I'm wonderful. How are you today?
Well, I'm fine, and I have neither good news nor bad.
You do. Apparently, our drummer likes you.
I love the idea that I get a drum roll just for saying good morning.
Yes, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right. Sorry. What is the good news?
There is none. Well, the good news, I suppose, is that we're still in the hunt for the old Super Bowl this year.
Absolutely. What's the bad news?
That we've got 8 players coming up for free agency. I don't know.
Oh.
But it's true, we do. There really wasn't anything there wasn't very much that sort of sprung out at me today.
Well, the bad news is we're not there. That's the bad news. We're not there. And here I am in Indiana, here you are in England. That's very sad.
Thousands of miles away from the action.
Yes. And our other member of our posse this evening is also far away from the state of California. Just up the road from 49er headquarters, our own man behind enemy lines. He feeds well on the tears of 49er Nation, where they are known for having whining with their cheese. You know him as Orange76. We know him as Statsman Mark. Hi, Mark.
Hey, guys. I'm in enemy territory, and it just struck me what a difference a year makes. We're back in the NFC Championship game, and the 49ers are having contrived enthusiasm for Jim Tomsula, their new head coach.
The Jim Tomsula era about to begin in 49er world, and you know they're just loving it. Oh, this is who I wanted. This is awesome. Okay.
The radio out here is just, I mean, even the people that are you're grasping at straws when it's, let's see what he does, and let's see what he does.
That's her way of saying she has a nice personality, so let's enjoy the personality. But I had a friend said you can't screw personality, but we won't go in that right now.
That's true.
Hey guys, NFC Championship, we're back. Isn't that exciting?
It's awesome.
It is.
It's amazing.
For
some people, it's almost unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. But before we get too much into that, and we're really anxious to talk about it, let's talk about how the show's run. For those of you who listened before, thank you for listening. For those who are listening this first time, don't worry. We promise we will be gentle, but be careful. We might move your cheese. I'd like to point out, usually we have a couple other guys. Will and Dustin are out partying in Seattle right now, so they are not on the show tonight. But the show is run with 4 quarters, and there's a 2-minute warning, just like at halftime, just like a regular game. In first quarter, we'll have news. I will provide some brief headlines from around the NFL world. Quarter 2, of course, we'll talk about how we did last week. Last week's game, the victory, 31-17 victory over the Carolina Panthers, and our predictions, prognostications, and game balls. And we'll talk about that game. At the 2-minute warning, we'll do a headlines and punchlines, but it'll be a little different. What we're going to do is we have found some Chuck Norris jokes, and based on Cam Chancellor's performance last week, which we'll talk about in the second quarter, we're going to take those Chuck Norris jokes and replace Chuck Norris's name with Cam Chancellor, and came up with some pretty good descriptions of what Cam Chancellor was like last week, and really since he's been in a Seahawk uniform. At halftime, a special 12th Man Fan Jam halftime trivia, mano y mano, between the champion last week, which was Matt from merry old England, and the returning champion who did not defend his title last week, Mark. So, be interesting to see how that goes, champion against champion. It's like the WBC and WBA champion going at it. Very exciting. And quarter week 3, we will go over this week's playoff game, the NFC Championship, about the Packers. We'll talk about the Packers and how they can win the game and how we can win the game. And, of course, we'll finish up the fourth quarter with our predictions. Before we start, I'd like to remind you, we'd like you to like, share, subscribe to the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel. Contact us on this thread or the comment sections of this video or feedback. Email us, 12thmanfangym@gmail.com. Tell us what you think. Good or bad, we don't mind. Join us on the 12th Man Fan Jam Show Facebook group. Like and join us. Hey, have you voted for the second annual 12th Man Fan Jam Awards yet? Well, why not? Here are the nominees. Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Touchdown of the Year, and Game of the Year, all Seahawks. Stop by the 12th Man Fan Jam Show Facebook page and vote, or contact us on this thread, or email us again at 12thmanfanjam@gmail.com and let us know who you think deserves an award. The balloting will close this Sunday, the 18th of January, and then during the week break between the NFC Championship and the Super Bowl at halftime of next week's show, we will have our award ceremony. Okay, let's get this NFC Championship show rolling, shall we? It's now time for news. Yes, news while you were too busy celebrating a win over the Panthers. And before I start the news, there is a story I'd like to share you all, a personal story, and it is news. My daughter, Mosette, who does the breaks in between the quarters, she wore her Seahawk jersey to school today, as requested by me.
Well done.
Yes, she always does. And she has a friend that sits, or a guy that sits next to her in her English or her math class, and he is a 49er fan. And today when I came home, she said, you know that 49er fan that sits next to me? And I said, yeah. She said, well, he wore his jersey today, and I had mine. And this is a true story. She said he had a wadded up piece of paper, wadded up in a ball, and he had his pencil like a baseball bat. And he was throwing the ball up, and he was trying to hit it, and he kept missing. And she said after the third time he missed, I turned to him, and she goes, you know what that reminds me of? And he said, what? And she said, that reminds me of your team trying to get in the playoffs this year.
Ouch.
I kid you not. My own
Well
daughter.
done,
Isn't she great?
well done, Mosette. Well done.
Mosette, bless her heart. Well done, Mosette. It's very true. Let's talk about some news real quick. New York Jets running back Chris Johnson was arrested last Friday night for carrying a firearm, which is a second-degree misdemeanor. Yes. He has a license, but the arrest is open for carrying, which is prohibited. He's known as CJ2K4, or he was known as CJ2K. Now he's known as CJ AK-47.
I thought
There
all
you
you
go.
Americans had guns anyway. I didn't think it was a problem over there.
It's like a Western over here, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is.
I thought anyone could have. I mean, kids and anyone, grannies, and they've all got pistols kept somewhere, haven't they?
Well, and if you watch The Simpsons, obviously, baby Maggie can really shoot a gun because she shot Burns.
Absolutely.
Yes. So anyway,
So has he been arrested? You say he was arrested then?
he was he was arrested, and here's the punchline. He was expected not to be brought back prior to this incident, and they were going to cut him. He only signed a 2-year deal.
All right.
So apparently this is going to be he's a free man now. And what better guy to have on your team than a guy that gets arrested for carrying a firearm?
So but isn't that sort of like a prerequisite? Isn't that like you need to have that if you're going to be in the Raiders or something?
I think you're right.
He'll be
you're
down there
absolutely
soon enough.
Well, but thanks to the Plexico Burris gun safety course, he managed not to shoot himself in the leg.
Oh, Plaxico Burris, what a great punchline for any joke.
Boom.
Yes, awesome. Well, congratulations, Chris Johnson, and good luck next year having a team. I just hope it's not
Well
ours.
done, you.
Yes. Hey, you guys remember Jonathan Martin, who was the guy that had the Richie Incognito situation?
Yes.
And then, he was being bullied, so he left. Now he's on the 49ers.
Well done.
Well,
him.
last Thursday, he and a friend from college were out shopping at Beverly Center in Los Angeles. Sorry. Just skipping along. When he said he noticed the shoplifting in progress at the Versace collection store a few yards away. He said one person had taken 3 purses and was running out of the store. Martin saw another person in the process of snatching items and sprung into action. Dun ta da! He ran across the corner of the store, helped the security guard in corralling the alleged shoplifter. But here's my favorite part. The first alleged shoplifter got away and apparently went over and tackled Kaepernick for a 10-yard loss. So,
Nice.
yeah, so he still can't protect, apparently. And the first guy was Richie Incognito.
Oh, dear.
So not you again. No. So congratulations on Jonathan Martin for being a hero, I guess, even though you didn't get both of them. He got one of them, and when you play for the 49ers, 50% is pretty good, I guess.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
And security will still mess up that replay of the
Yes, they will. Oh, my God. O.J. Simpson hasn't been in the news very much recently. But he did win the Heisman in 1968. And apparently, the man who became the custodian of that 1968 Heisman Trophy was a homeless drug addict who lugged it around the streets for years. The former transient is in the crosshairs of the LAPD because he's the guy who called USC a while back inquiring about how much he could get for the trophy. USC called LAPD stat and forked over the guy's cell phone number, and the LAPD went on the hunt. Now, he has a cell phone, but he is homeless, so he wouldn't have a home number, obviously. Anyway, the man swears he's not the guy who broke the case and made off with the statue. He did say he traded it for listen to this, he traded the trophy for a burgundy Honda Accord and $500 cash.
Wow.
That's not even a joke. That's the truth.
Did he then drive off down the road with loads of helicopters behind him as he's sort of like trailing him down the road?
No white Bronco.
Did he have a pair of gloves that was too big for his hands or too small for his hands?
Here's the best part. Go ahead, Mark.
I was just going to say, was his name in lights from Hertz Rent-A-Car?
Oh my God. Here's shortly after I'm reading this story from TMZ Sports, by the way. Shortly after he got the Heisman, the man says he lost everything and became homeless.
Which is so true, the Heisman.
I got the Heisman.
How are you, Tim Tebow?
Yeah, Tim Tebow's going, I feel you, brother. I feel you. Tim Tebow's going, yeah, I got the Heisman. Look what happened to me.
So a homeless dude has got more media coverage than Tim Tebow has.
Basically, over Heisman. Yeah. He's had it for 17 years. In a related note, I have Ronald Goldman's Employee of the Month plaque from October 1993. So if anyone's looking for that.
Oh.
What sort of car are you going to get with that?
The kids, you know what? That was really low. But the kids dig it. Kids, you dig that? Yeah. Kids are in my corner. Ronald Goldman, Employee of the Month plaque. Look for that. I've got it. October 1993. Okay. Ooh. Finally. Thank God.
Thank God.
The next Thomas Edison could kick your ass. Because the NFL star Bernard Pollard has a countertop organizer he invented last year that blew up in sales this holiday season. Pollard, who won a Super Bowl with the Ravens in 2012, invented a bathroom countertop organizer last year called the Smart Sinks Tray, and says he was inspired by tiny sinks out in Baltimore. I've never been to Baltimore, but apparently I do not want to wash my hands in Baltimore because they have tiny sinks. Who knew? When I hear tiny sinks, I think of sinks that are like 2 foot high off the floor.
Dustin, where are you?
Woo! And I'm going to put a picture up. So this is, excuse me, what you're seeing right now is the Smart Sinks Tray. This is an invention by a former NFL player, Bernard Pollard, and he is like really, really exploding with this. Sales spike at nearly 60%. Now, we don't know if he went from 3 to 4 or what that meant, but it's a 60% spike.
Let's not
the East Coast went crazy for it. They go for that kind of stuff. It comes with, and also if you get the special order, because he is a Raven, you can get a box set with that and the Ray Lewis gun rack. So Woo! Only here where you hear jokes about Ray Lewis and guns and Ronald Goldman in the same area.
So much to get sued for. I'm just.
I know. I'm glad no one listens to this show.
Amazing.
Oh, and that's news from me because it's my news time. All right. It's the end of the first quarter. I think we're all grateful for that.
It's the end of the first quarter, bitches.
We will take a quick break. We'll come back with the second quarter. Hey, let's talk some football. Let's talk some Seahawk football. Last week's win against the Carolina Panthers. We'll be right back after this station identification.
You're listening to the 12th Man Fan Jam on the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel.
Gonna beat you now, so get out of our town.
And now it's time for the second quarter of the 12th Man Fan Jam. Here to take you through the second quarter is once again our host, the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Allen Church of Seahawk Positivity.
Yes, thank you, Magic Voice of the 12th Man Fan Jam, and welcome back to the second quarter. A very special NFC Championship version of your 12th Man Fan Jam show. We want to remind you, we'd like you to like, share, and subscribe this video where and when you can. We enjoy having new listeners and people talk on the 12th Man Fan Jam show Facebook page as well. Be sure to listen and come on there and share some pictures, some Seahawk stories, anything you want to share on there. We're looking forward to hearing from you there as well. Also, we want to remind you to vote for our Fan Jammies, our second annual Fan Jammies, which the award show will be halftime of next week's show, which is the bye week between the championship and the Super Bowl. But before we get there, we got to look back to last week's win against the Carolina Panthers, 31-17. Statsman Mark, what was your overall view of this game? What did you come away from this game thinking?
Well, first off, it was just a relief to see Marshawn starting the game, and no, it followed. It was kind of typical. We had the halftime lead. Things started a little slow offensively, and then second half we're just the best in the NFL at making adjustments. And, I thought I was curious about the game just because Carolina won, they do have a good defense and they showed up, they were pretty fired up for the game. And, so it didn't necessarily surprise me, but I knew that, if we did see a cakewalk, it wouldn't be until the second half. But, I actually give the Panthers credit. They did play hard. We have the better quarterback.
We definitely did. Slow, methodical beatdown is what I tell everybody that we talk to. Slow, methodical beatdown. And Matt, we make great adjustments at halftime, but it just seems like even if we don't make adjustments, it just seems like for 4 quarters, teams can't stay with us, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we build up to a momentum, which I don't think other teams can really play against. I mean, our first quarter wasn't earth-shattering. We scored in the first, second, and fourth quarters. Nobody scored in the third quarter, but I think for me, it was third down. I mean, it's rare that you can just sit there and I just, by the end of it, I'm thinking it doesn't matter what Wilson does on third down. He's going to score, he's going to throw it, he's going to do something, and sure enough, he does. And he's so much better than he gets credit for. The media. I mean, we always say that the media give us a rough ride, but I really do think sometimes that they miss Wilson. I mean, his numbers aren't legendary. Do you know what I mean? As in, he didn't throw plus 300 yards. He didn't, he doesn't do all that sort of stuff. But my God, he's efficient when he needs.
Absolutely. 9 for 9 on third downs with 3 touchdowns, and that's in a playoff game against a really good defense.
I mean, who does that? Who does that? Where does that happen else in this league? Because I must have blinked and missed it. And And I laughed because when I saw Marshawn on the first play of the whole game, I almost wanted to like just text you straight away and say, please tell me Mark has noticed that Marshawn is standing on the field for the first play of the game.
Oh, I noticed.
I'm sure he did.
But no, it's slow. Yes, it's a methodical. I mean, I think there are still some things which made me slightly concerned, and maybe we'll come to those in a second. I don't know what you want to do next, but for me, yeah, slow, methodical beatdown as always. But third down efficiency, Russell Wilson once again proving that he's not a game manager. He's a really good elite quarterback.
Without question. It's so much fun to see him on a national stage, and people who we see it every week, and people who don't see it every week, how they react is always exciting because they can't believe he does the things he does, and he does the same thing every week, and we're kind of getting spoiled and used to it. But overshadowed, of course, was the performance of Cam Chancellor, which we'll get to in a minute. But something I took away, if you gentlemen haven't seen Inside the NFL yet, two things that I took away is why I'm so confident with this team, not just for this week, but in the years ahead. And I say years. During that game, when I think the Panthers answered, made it I think it was 17-10 at that point, maybe. Or it was 24-6. I don't know. Anyway, they had answered, and it had been a 7-point game. And Russell Wilson going over to Bobby Wagner and saying, it's time. Let's go get the doubters. Let's go get the doubters. And I just thought, wow. I mean, just those guys are together. I mean, offense and defense. It isn't offense and defense. It's just a team of 53 guys that love each other. And then hearing Richard Sherman go into Thomas's face, and I'm paraphrasing, but it was kind of what these moments do. They exploit greatness. This team, these guys aren't afraid of the spotlight. They aren't afraid of the big game. We always talk about that. But the reason they're so good in the spotlight is because they relish it. They want to play the best teams. They want to play in the biggest games. They want to dare to be great. They're not afraid to be great. They're not afraid of the spotlight. And that's something that great teams have. The Steelers of the 70s, the 49ers of the Montana era, they had that greatness, and they knew that they were, not necessarily knew they were great, but they weren't afraid to see how great they were week after week after week. And that's what these guys do, I think.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the self-belief is there, but and the media may take that and turn that into cockiness. They take that and they turn it into, just overconfidence. And it's not. It really isn't. It's just self-belief that anything, our team can do anything it wants to do, put its mind to it. And that we're not battling, our team isn't battling itself like it was at the beginning of this season. And that's where, and if we want to show the mirror, the contrast between when a team is fired up and is doing, playing as a team, as opposed to is playing, in some sort of against themselves, really, for who's going to stand brightest in the spotlight, who's going to get the highest contracts, who's going to get the most money. If you just go down that route, you don't win championships because you're not playing as a team; you're playing against each other.
That's right. I agree. Mark, what are some things that kind of concern you from that game?
From Carolina?
Yeah. No, from us. Some things that concern about the Seahawks.
Well, I'm at the end. It's weird because any concerns I have with our guys, with the team, I mean, they just seem to be so temporary. I mean, things just get solved so quickly. There's no lingering effect from one thing or another. I mean, this season, I've been sitting here thinking about, how awesome it is that we're back at this point because, when we were 3-3, there was so little margin for error for us to, for a little while, making the playoffs, although I think we all knew they'd be there, but to get home field at the end of the season is just, it's amazing. Yeah. And it turns out, and I think we probably talked about it at the time, that we absolutely knew opening day or our first game, week 1, this game was going to play a role in playoff seeding. And of course it ultimately ends up deciding us getting home field advantage. And it was a heck of a way to start the season. And now, there's a rematch, and and we're really on top of our game. So any concerns I have, and of course, Moses gets to read those in-game texts from me. Eventually, when I look at the bigger picture and listen to the ordained, my concerns are squashed.
Yeah, you didn't. You were pretty good shape. You didn't do too bad on your text.
Well, thanks to my sponsor, it's improving.
Which would be me. You were more. You got more into the Green Bay Dallas game and Jerry's face melting in the freezing rain, but in the freezing temperature. But what about Matt? I can't imagine that you have any concerns about any player on the Seahawks after watching the Carolina game. I just can't imagine what you're going to talk about.
Well, you might be a bit surprised at what I'm going to say now, but I know which player you're alluding to, and Harold Simon was exposed in this game.
Yes.
He was in for Byron, who couldn't apparently breathe. I think was what Pete Carroll said, was that he was having trouble breathing and therefore didn't feel that he was able to go in and do his best for this particular game. Right. But I'll tell you this now. From being exposed and from being thrown at for almost the entire game when he was on, apart from one play in the end zone, which I think he probably could have done better, I was actually quite impressed by him because he didn't lose it. He didn't start causing lots and lots of penalties for no real reason because he was getting beat. He stuck with it. He was in their faces. He wasn't particularly the most efficient corner I've ever seen. But good on you, Harold Simon, for sticking in there when, quite frankly, you were the weakest link in the chain on the field at that time. And he didn't fall apart. He didn't become a complete liability. But obviously, they spotted straight away that he was the person to throw against. So yes, I'll talk about him. Yes, I think he was exposed. Yes, I think he was the weakest link. But no, well done him for sticking with it and taking the lumps because they came.
So you actually just praised Harold Simon on this show?
I did. No, I absolutely did. And
Say what?
I know, even I myself am shocked to my very core that I had to say that. But even I can't sit here and say that the kid, he was a liability, but he didn't give up anything. He kept with it. He kept his cool. He kept his composure. He kept up with the receivers. Yes, there was the play in the end zone. I think he should have made a better job with. But he's a rookie, big deal. But well done him. There we go. I'll be fair. I'll be critical, but I'm fair.
Very nice, very nice. For me, I mean, it's interesting because they immediately went there, and that's all they did the whole game, which tells you about the other guys on the field. They didn't even want to mess with the other 10. They just wanted to mess with the new guy. And oh, there's a hole. It's like the minute you can find the tiniest of holes on this defense, you got to just throw everything at it. And that seemed like they were doing, which I think is actually flattering to the rest of the defense because one guy, get him. Just stay on him the whole time, I thought that was interesting.
Sorry, Moses. One thing to bring up from what Mark said, whether we were playing this in Lambeau Field or whether we were playing this game at Seattle, I wouldn't be scared of playing at Lambeau, to be honest. I don't think the Packers played a great game. I did watch their game. I think, the bigger game for us actually was Green Bay losing against the Bills. That's what puts us where we are, really. But even so, if we were travelling to Lambeau, I wouldn't be too fussed. Yeah, obviously, it becomes much easier, I suppose, for us to be at CenturyLink. We're not unbeatable at CenturyLink. Dallas taught us that, if nobody else. But certainly, against this Green Bay team, I don't see any problems.
Yeah, I don't as well. And we'll get that in the second half, of course. Let's go ahead and talk about our predictions, our prognostications from last week and our game balls. The predictions are up on your screen right now. Mark had 27-13, Will 24-13, Dustin 27-6, Matt 17-10, and I went crazy and said 36-15. However, 31-17, that's pretty close. So I guess I win that round. So the kids dig it when I
well
win.
Done.
Kids, yeah. Thank you, kids. The prognostications were really actually pretty good. Mark had 3 interceptions.
I don't think mine was.
Well, okay. Mark said Cam Newton had 3 interceptions, and aside from an Earl Thomas overturn, he would have had that. Will said Bennett with 2 sacks, and that did not happen. Dustin with a Thomas pick 6. It didn't happen. I said a Sherman pick 6. Now, he got an interception, but that didn't happen. And, of course, Matt, begging for the B-Walt experience, but it didn't happen.
But you tell me that when he did that one run, that one return, that you weren't expecting that B-Walt experience to be there.
I have explained to my son, little Mo, my little 9-year-old son, what the B-Walt experience is, and he said, "You're joking, right?" I said, "No, that's really what we're looking for." And when he caught the ball, I said, "Here comes the experience," real loud. And then he got tackled, and he looked at me with a face that was like he'd just gotten underwear for Christmas. He just looked at me with a scowl like, "Are you kidding me, Dad? Really? Really? That's the B-Walt experience?"
Yep.
So, no B-Walt experience, sadly. And finally, the game balls. Mark had said Russell Wilson. It's just an amazing performance by Russell Wilson. I think it was 149.3 quarterback rating. 9 for 9 on third downs with 3 touchdowns. And a playoff game is unheard of. Will said Bennett. Matt said, of course, B. Walt for the experience. And I had said Lynch, who had a very good game. But Dustin came up with Cam Chancellor.
Yeah, he wins.
So, I mean, I don't think so. Congratulations, Dustin. You get a free Green Bay Packer cheese shredder that we'll be sending to you soon. Speaking of Cam Chancellor, that takes us to our 2-minute warning.
Holy shit, it's a 2-minute warning.
In our 2-minute warning, this scene right before halftime on this show, we are going to do another wonderful 12th Man Fan Jam edition of Headlines and Punchlines. Yes, Headlines and Punchlines. What we do with Headlines and Punchlines is we take a headline from the NFL and we have our own punchlines to do it, to add to it, to make it kind of fun for everybody. Well, we did a little different tonight. What we did on this show is I took a bunch of Chuck Norris jokes. And if you don't know what Chuck Norris jokes are, it's a series of jokes that Chuck Norris is so tough, he's just amazingly tough. So I took a bunch of Chuck Norris jokes and I replaced Chuck Norris with Cam Chancellor.
I got some too.
So okay, we'll rotate between you and me, Matt. Right? Okay. And you just say it. I'm not gonna say he's so tough or whatever. You do that yourself, okay?
Okay.
Okay. So here I go. Cam Chancellor is so tough that a bulletproof vest wears Cam Chancellor for protection.
That's a good one. I like that one.
Yeah, Matt.
Cam Chancellor is so tough that he has the screams of his victims on shuffle on his MP3 player.
Nice. Cam Chancellor is so tough that Cam Chancellor doesn't dial the wrong number. You picked the wrong phone.
Cam Chancellor is so tough that when Cam stands on the beach, the tide is scared to come in.
Oh, yeah!
Hey, Dennis, I got one.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Cam Chancellor is so tough. His middle name is Braddock.
Oh, Lord. Cam Chancellor is so tough, his calendar goes straight from March 31st to April 2nd because no one fools Cam Chancellor.
Nice.
Matt, you got any more?
Oh, sorry. Cam Chancellor is so tough that Cam Chancellor can give a paper a cut.
Mark, anything?
Cam Chancellor is so tough that Jim Harbaugh left town and the Niners hired Jim Tom Sula.
Cam Chancellor hit you so hard your blood will bleed.
Cam Chancellor is so tough that Cam Chancellor believes it's not butter.
Cam Chancellor knows why Waldo is hiding. And anyone else?
Cam Chancellor is so tough, he rang the freedom bell once, and he cracked it.
There you go. And finally for me, Cam Chancellor is so tough, there was once a street called Cam Chancellor, but the name was changed for public safety because nobody crosses Cam Chancellor and lives. That's the end of the second quarter.
Holy shit, it's halftime.
Hey, it's halftime. And you know what that means. It's time for another wonderful edition of the 12th Man Fan Jam halftime trivia game. A game that you there, listening and watching, can play along with as well. It's a one-on-one matchup tonight between a former champion and a current champion. So let's see how that goes. We'll be right back for that wonderful trivia game right after these messages.
Hey, this is Matt, all the way from merry old England, and you're listening to the 12th Man Fan Jam.
Yes, it's halftime, and welcome to another fun-filled edition of the best play-along Seahawk-themed trivia game show on the internet. It's time for 12th Man Halftime Trivia. Yes, this is your host, self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Allen Church of Seahawk Positivity. Yes, thank you, me, and welcome to a very special NFC Championship edition of your 12th Man Fan Jam trivia game that tests the knowledge of both your posse and your listeners. So let's meet the contestants, shall we? What an exciting show we have tonight. First, the champion from a while ago. He was the champion. He did not get to defend his title last week. However, he is here now to defend. From the Hotel California, it is Mark.
Hello.
Yes, Mark, welcome back to defend your title. How do you feel, champ?
I feel okay. I cut in there on top of my song. It's this it's the Swede in me that just gets me all confused. So I'm hoping I can pull this off.
Oh my God! Well, you got your work cut out for you, because last week's champion from merry old England, it's the Sex Pistols, baby. Yes, the champion from last week. From merry old England, it is Matt.
Hey ho!
Hi, Matt.
God save the Queen.
That's right, the fascist regime. Okay, here's how the game is played, gentlemen. There are 2 rounds of questions. However, each of you will have 2 questions per round since there are just 2 of you this evening. Each contestant answers 2 questions each round. If you get it correct, you get a point. After the 2 rounds of questions, there will be a final trivia question worth 2 points. And if there's a tie, then we will go to a special secret overtime question, and the winner will indeed take it all. The questions and possible answers will be displayed on your screen here on the YouTube channel. So the viewer and the listener can play along as well as you wish. And if you do, let us know how you did on the questions. Again, please, the rules, no Googling, no phone a friend, and please, absolutely no wagering. This is done in fun. However, earlier today, my 2 charming Seahawk fan children, Mosette and Little Mo, did take the quiz. And if you'd like to know what the kids answered, you may request that once per round. So you have a once per round chance to ask how the kids answered. I won't tell you, obviously, if they got it right or not, but I'll tell you how they answered. So, are we ready to play, gentlemen?
Yes, indeed.
Okay,
Absolutely.
The reigning champion is Matt. So, Matt, you get to pick odd or even.
Even.
Matt picks even, so that means that Mark will be going first. So, Mark is on 1 and 3, and Matt is on 2 and 4. All right, Mark, are you ready?
Absolutely.
All right, here we go. First question is this. Who has played in the most NFC Championship games? Is it the Dallas Cowboys, the San Francisco 49ers, or the Washington Redskins?
Oh wow, jeez, those are 3. Well, there used to be 3 impressive franchises.
Can I say something? You know what would help you?
What's that?
Uh-oh.
A little organ, baby. Okay.
Okay. You know what? I hate going to these guys for the answer, but I think I'm going to say the Dallas Cowboys.
He's going to say Dallas Cowboys. That's what Mosette said. Unfortunately, you're both wrong.
I'd have been wrong as well.
It is the
Dallas.
49ers.
Yeah.
18 of them by just one. Yeah, 49ers.
Grief.
So
Well,
Mark
that-
is on the slide.
That was such a quick buzzer that actually startled me.
Well, the judge is in a hurry tonight, I guess. Anyway, Matt, it's your time. And your question is this. Besides the Seahawks and the Cardinals, the only NFC team to never lose an NFC Championship that they've played in, would it be the Saints, the Giants, or the Redskins? The only team not to lose an NFC Championship that they've played in. And here's the Morgan for you, buddy.
Wow. I would say. So you got to think of the 80s. That's what I'm going back to. I would say the Giants.
Go say Giants. Okay,
Yeah.
knock it off. All right. He says the Giants. Mosette and Little Mo also said the Giants.
Good, I'm with the kids.
And they're right.
Yes.
The Giants are 5-0 in NFC Championship games. That's pretty impressive.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, 5-0. So Matt, you were on the board with a point.
Thank you.
So we go back to Mark. Mark, your question is this: who is the only NFC team to never win an NFC Championship game? Would that be the Falcons, the Lions, or the Buccaneers?
Let's see. That would be. Oh, I know this. See, it took me a while. See the delay.
Yeah, I
the
got
blue,
you.
the blue and yellow flag, but it kicked in, and that would be the Lions.
The Lions. Mosette and Lil Mo said the Buccaneers. They don't know any better, though. Oh, because they were wrong. You're right. It is the Lions. And Mark is on the board. Well done, Mark.
Well, that's about the only way the Lions come through in the clutch. So
By never playing. Besides Detroit, the next question is for Matt. Besides Detroit, one NFC team has never hosted an NFC Championship game. Would that be the Falcons, the Panthers, or the Saints? And you, buddy, get some Morgan.
I would think. I think because of their age, I'd say the Panthers.
He's going with the Panthers. Kids with the Falcons. It's your answer. Is right.
Ooh, the two new, aren't they?
Panthers have never hosted an NFC. And we are at the end of the first round, and it is 2-1 Matt over Mark. So that being said, Matt has the lead, so Matt gets to pick the second round. And when I'll tell you what the topic is, we'll call it potpourri, shall we?
Potpourri, absolutely.
Yes. Matt, would you like the odds or the evens?
Well, what did I have last time? I had the evens, didn't I?
You had the evens.
I'll stick with the evens because they've been kind to me, so I'll stick to evens.
The kind evens that they are. And now, that means Mark once again kicks off second round. Mark, you trail 2-1, but there's still plenty of time. Here you go. Mark, what is Wallace of the animated show Wallace and Gromit's favorite type of cheese? Is it cheddar? Is it Wensleydale, or is it Stilton? You ever watch Wallace and Gromit?
Oh no, I guess I missed that one.
Oh, you're
more
missing out.
cheese.
Oh, it's brilliant.
Oh wow, yeah. I just I'm still stuck on old episode reruns of Beretta and Columbo.
I used to love Beretta when I was growing up just because of the stupid parakeet or that bird, cockatoo.
Oh yeah, Fred. See, I know that trivia.
Thank you, Fred the cockatoo. I would have been looking that up later. Fred the cockatoo. The answers again. Favorite type of cheese, is it cheddar, Wensleydale, or Stilton?
You know, I got to exercise my right to consult the ordained children. Of Moses
The
on this
ordained
one.
children.
Holy
Yes.
children.
The ordained children. Mosette and Lomo both said the same thing. They said cheddar was the answer for Wallace's favorite kind of cheese.
Hey, it sounds good to me. Sharp Tillamook cheddar. I'll go with that.
All right. We're going with cheddar with the kids. You shouldn't have gone with the kids this time. Wensleydale.
Wensleydale.
Everyone knows it's Wensleydale. I mean, come on. No.
Excuse me.
All right, Matt.
Yes.
Another English question for you. Are you ready?
Oh, wonderful.
Yes. In the
Watch me get this wrong.
in the Monty Python cheese shop sketch, what makes the cheese shop the best cheese shop in the district? Is it its variety of cheeses? Is it its cleanliness, or is it its atmosphere? What makes the cheese shop in the Monty Python sketch the best cheese shop in the district? Its variety of cheeses, its cleanliness, or its atmosphere? And speaking of Monty Python, here's some organ, baby.
I don't need any organ. My brain's doing circles. Oh, why can't I think of this?
Great skit.
Oh, it's amazing as well.
Love the skit.
See, now do I use it up? Do I use up my? I think I'm gonna have to. What did the kids say?
What did the kids say? The kids said, Mosette said it's variety of cheeses, and Little Mo said it's atmosphere.
I was hoping they were going to go with the other ones. Okay, I'll go with it. I'll go with the atmosphere then.
We'll go with the atmosphere. You'll go with Little Mo. No.
Damn it.
It's cleanliness.
Really?
It's cleanliness makes it. What makes this cheese shop the best in the district? It's cleanliness. Well, it's certainly clean because it doesn't have any cheese, is the reply from Chuck.
Yes. Oh, for
yes.
crying out loud. Yes.
So, we go to the next set of questions. Okay, Mark. There was a movie called Benny and June a long time ago. And there was a person on that show that used an iron, that you used to iron clothes, and they made a grilled cheese sandwich with that iron. Who was the actor that used an iron to make a grilled cheese sandwich in the movie Benny and June? Was it Johnny Depp, Mary Stuart Masterson, or Aidan Quinn? Who made the grilled cheese sandwich with an iron?
Oh, wow.
Catch the cheese theme?
Yes. Oh my goodness. Benny and June. I mean, I was in the middle of a blackout when I saw that movie. I absolutely, I crack myself up. So, you know what? I'm gonna go, instead of the two main stars, I'm gonna go with Aiden because he had to take care of those people. I'm going Aidan Quinn.
See, and you know that. See, that's interesting. You would know that about that movie. I remember he was like the only sane one out of all three of them. And you are going with Aidan Quinn. But the answer is Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp made the grilled cheese sandwich with a.
Of course, it's like the most obvious choice.
Yeah.
He's the star.
Yeah, Mosette had that one because she knew Johnny Depp. So, all right, here's the situation. It's 2-1, Matt. So, Matt, even if he gets this question right, the final question is worth 2 points, Mark. So, you're still very much in this. All right, Matt. According to the movie Diary of a Wimpy Kid, the only way to protect yourself from the dreaded cheese touch is to do what? Cross your arms, eat the cheese, or cross your fingers. How do you get rid of the dreaded cheese touch? Cross your arms, eat the cheese, or cross your fingers.
I have absolutely no idea. Give me the options again. What were the options again?
Cross your arms, eat the cheese, or cross your fingers.
Cross your fingers. I have no idea.
Cross your fingers. He says cross your fingers. It's cross your fingers.
Total guess.
Yep. Mosette knew that. She'd seen the movie and read the book, so she was on that. And we go to our final round, the final question. 2-pointer. Matt has a 3-1 lead. However, the last question is worth 2 points, so you never know. Of course, Mark will give the first question answer. Matt will give the second question. It is a number game again. The closest one without going over wins the 2 points. If you're both over, then the one closest to the number gets the 2 points. Here we go. Are you ready, Mark?
I am. I gotta say, I feel like the USA soccer team, and that Matt's like RW on third down.
Ooh, nice for one of them. Okay, here we go. Let's see if you can outwit Russell Wilson. Here's your question. Last year's NFC Championship game played in Seattle. How many total penalty yards were there between the Seahawks and the 49ers combined? The Seahawks and the 49ers combined for how many penalty yards?
Oh boy! Wow.
I can't remember. Good God.
I am going to go with... Let's see here. I'm going to go with 133.
Matthew?
Good number. That's a good number. I would go... I'll do a Price is Right, which is fair, because this is the sort of time when you do that. I'm going to go 132.
So Mark has 133. Matt has 132. The correct answer is 131.
Oh my god.
Oh!
And that means the champ is back, baby!
Oh!
What am I?
Matt held him off. I didn't think it was going to happen, but it did. Unbelievable.
What? Well played,
Oh,
sir.
my
Well
goodness.
played.
Thank you very much.
Matt, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yes, we're going to take a break. We want you to stay tuned for a very special presentation of a B-Walt experience following this 12th Man Fan Jam Trivia show. We hope you learned something. It's been another crowd-pleasing, heart-stopping, award-winning 12th Man Fan Jam halftime trivia. We'll be back after this quick station identification.
One man,
Oh, nice move. What a move.
one legend.
Touchdown, Seahawks.
Bothell, Washington, Bryan Walters.
Bryan Walters, he's into the end zone on a quick screen to the right side.
Blink, and you'll miss it. Coming soon to a stadium near you. B. Walt, the experience.
So this weekend, are we getting one of the returns for a touchdown?
It's there. It's coming. It's coming. Oh, definitely. Definitely. Definitely coming.
He is in. Touchdown, Seahawks.
Blink, and you'll miss it.
It's the third quarter, bitches.
Yes, welcome back to the third quarter and the start of the second half of the special NFC Championship edition of the 12th Man Fan Jam Show. Alongside the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Island Church of Seahawk Positivity is Matt from merry old England, and of course Statsman Mark. So we're very excited to start talking about this championship game between your Seattle Seahawks and the Green Bay Packers. The Packers come in after defeating the Dallas Cowboys in Lambeau last week, and now they come into Seattle 7.5-point underdogs. But they do have Aaron Rodgers, they do have Eddie Lacy, they do have Clay Matthews, they do have Clinton Dix, and we'll see what kind of impact they have on this game. We'll start with Statsman Mark. Mark, how do the Packers are extreme underdogs here? How do they win this game in Seattle?
Well, before I get into that, I gotta congratulate Matt on winning halftime trivia, and I Romo'd the third round, and
No, just up
Yes!
laters, mate. Soccer.
or you could say I Air Manning'd it.
I like that one better, but I like the Romo it. Are you sitting with your head on the ground, like your hands in your head? And
Well, not quite that bad, but I'm just realizing even my one-liners are cheesy.
you're fitting right in, man. You're fitting right
Who's
in.
this game?
Okay. Oh man, I love me some me.
Oh, Mark loves me some me. That's
That's
awesome.
amazing.
Let's see. Okay, so for this game, it's just interesting that on one hand, Seattle, I learned earlier, is riding an 8-game home playoff win streak, and the Packers have won 12 out of their last 14 to get to this point. Let's see, for Green Bay, boy, they're they like to get into shootouts. I mean, they like high scoring games, and of course, those are precisely the kind of offenses that we're designed to shut down. I think really it goes against their nature, but I just think Lacey's going to have a huge game running. I think Green Bay just needs to burn as much clock and afford the Seahawks fewer opportunities. To put pressure on us. Maybe to give us only maybe 9 or maybe 10 drives max instead of 12 or more. For the game, it's just going to be very tough for them, and they're going to need huge plays. I think maybe they'll need some special teams, kind of turnovers on our end. It's just the margin for error for Green Bay is really narrow. And we'll see how mobile, the fact that Aaron Rodgers isn't very mobile, that he's still gimpy, even though ET isn't buying it. It's just going to be very tough for them. But I would say they need to really be able to run the ball. And Jonathan Stewart had over 100 yards against us last week. So I just think running the ball is their best bet.
Yeah, I agree with that. Matt, I was watching that game, and at first I wanted the Cowboys because I wanted revenge for the loss and all that, how wonderful that would be. And then I watched Aaron Rodgers, and I watched Aaron Rodgers not move at all, even though there were times where he clearly had, in his past, this is where he would run. And he really prefaces by saying, I like the Green Bay Packers. I like the organization. I like Aaron Rodgers. I think all their players are class acts. I think it's class organization. I like the team and the organization. But I watch Aaron Rodgers not being able to run, and to me, I think that's going to be a huge issue for us, Matt, because we're not the Cowboys' defensive line, and I saw at least 4 or 5 times where our guys would have got there.
Georgia, no, I mean, I do think that Aaron Rodgers was injured. I put it that way. I think he was injured. Is he injured right now? I'm not so sure. But so I sort of agree a little bit with ET. I wouldn't sit there expecting Aaron to run like Russell Wilson. He never has done, so I don't expect that. But he is dangerous in the pocket anyway. So it doesn't really matter whether he runs or not. If his receivers are able to get open, then he'll try and make a play for them. The question is really, for me in this whole game, is will he stick to throwing to one side of the field only, like he did in the first game? Will he air it out over towards Sherman? And I think he will. I think he'll have to, because he sort of embarrassed himself the first time round by not doing it. And by shutting down half the field, then they've lost. If he does that, they've lost, because they're cutting their slim chances that they have in half. They do need to get a running game established early. But this is not we are not Dallas. We are not Dallas defense. That's going to be hard to do. I think we're going to shut them down on the throw game. I would expect Irvin to come off the blocks fast. I would expect Avril to be. I just expect Rodgers to have a pretty horrid time of it, to be fair. And I expect there to be, a fair amount of sacks.
A fair amount of what?
Sacks.
Oh, sacks.
Sacks.
Oh, I thought.
Sacks. But I agree with you. Green Bay is one of those teams that I like watching. I like watching Green Bay play. I liked watching them play Dallas. They're a team that you can sit back and enjoy the plays that they make. They have intelligent coaching. They have a great quarterback, because he is a great quarterback. Whether he's the best ever, if you listen to Stephen A. and all these other people, he's the best ever thing ever. I'm not so sure. But in any case, he's a great quarterback to watch. They've got talented members on defense, talented members on offense. So I don't think this will be a pushover. I know that they're coming in this with points against them, so to speak, but I wouldn't put it as that. I think we always get a good game against Green Bay.
Yeah, and we'll have a lot of sacks.
You can't get sacks out of your mind. No, we won't have a lot of sacks.
Well, you said there'll be a fair amount of sacks.
Sacks. There will not be a fair amount of sex on the field, I would assume.
Fair amount of sacks. Okay. Whew, I was worried there for a minute. Yeah.
It's unlikely.
Unlikely that's going to happen. No. I like the Green Bay Packers, but not that much. I like them, but I don't like them. So Mark, what do we got to do? Just show up, or is there a game plan that we have to have in play?
Well, I think we all would agree that it is absolutely crucial that Marshawn Lynch is out there for the first play of the first possession.
You know what, Mark? You know, the kids absolutely love Marshawn being out there. So, hey, kids, Marshawn needs to start. Yeah. The kids dig that, Mark. Go ahead.
Oh, man. Well, this is where, I think, this matchup is really favorable. I think, and we'll get to an official prediction later, of course, on this, but I think we're going to score over 30 points in this game. You can throw on Green Bay, and we should be able to run on Green Bay. I think it's kind of it's just one of those things where it's up to Bevel how he wants to set it up. I'd like to see us throw. I'd like to see RW get into a rhythm early, have the pass set up the run early on, and just keep them on their heels. They're probably going to crowd the box, put 8 in the box, whatever, because everybody's goal is to stop Marshawn if you can. And of course, the guy's so powerful, he ends up carrying 3 defenders on his back for 4 extra yards. But I expect Green Bay to crowd the line early. And it would be, it'd be huge for us just to get that passing game going, get into a rhythm. Maybe we take a shot deep early on, but I think we're going to be able to move the ball really well against Green Bay.
Yeah, I do too. Again, inside the NFL, had Luke Kuechly mic'd up, and at one point he's sitting on a bench, and he turned to the one defender that's been there forever, and he said, "Whew, he's a load." And I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, I know he's talking about there. No doubt 24 is a load. Matt, can I throw you some stats on how dominant our defense has been historically? Would you like to hear some of those before you comment?
I'd love to hear some of those.
The yards per game allowed by Seattle's defense this season is 267.1. That's the fewest in the NFL. No one else is under 300. And it's actually 6 yards less than last year's defense. So they're actually better than last year as far as yards per game. Now they are up a point from points per game. However, 4 teams this century, the 2001 Colts, the 2008-9 Lions, and the 2011 Buccaneers, have allowed more points in an entire season than the points the Seahawks gave up in 2 seasons combined. That's pretty crazy. You think about that. In the 2 years our defense has played, in 2 whole seasons, these other teams gave up that same amount of points in 1 season. Yep. That's pretty crazy. Yeah, go ahead.
No, absolutely. I mean, give us some more. Give us some more. What else
2 more. 2 consecutive seasons in which the Seahawks have allowed the fewest points in the NFL, making them one of 4 defenses in history to do that, to have 2 consecutive seasons allowing the fewest points and yards in the NFL. The 55-54 Browns, the 69-70 Vikings, and the 85-86 Bears. That defense was pretty good. And finally, 3 consecutive seasons which they've allowed the fewest points in the league. That hasn't been done since the 69-71 Vikings. And only the 53-57 Browns have led it 4 times for 4 times and more than 3 in consecutive seasons. So that's how spectacular this defense has been, Matt.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what our success is built upon, and that's why we keep, charging and doing this whole, grind them down mentality on defense. The only thing I would say is that we are playing, Green Bay, and Green Bay are normally pretty damn good. They play well. They do have Aaron Rodgers. They've got the X factor there. They've got a good quarterback. We're not playing Cam Newton. Done that, been there, beat that. This is, if there are quarterbacks out there that can beat us, then and there are quarterbacks that can beat us. Which is one of the reasons I'm quite pleased to have Green Bay rather than Dallas, because I think Dallas would have been far more of a sort of wild card against us. I'm quite happy that we're going to win this game, but I think it's I think we've got to keep in mind. Yes, we've got a fantastic defense, but look how poor our defense was. If you like, it's a relative term, but look how poor our defense was at the beginning of this year because of not playing as a team, because of not playing position man for man. They were playing against themselves. So we have the ability to do incredible things on defense, but we can also shoot ourselves in the face as well if we're not careful. But I don't think that will happen here. Yeah, so those defense absolutely, but I still look at Russell Wilson. 3 years in this league. Look at our offense as well. Our defense is one part of a game, but our offense is pretty damn good as well. And I agree with Mark. I think we're going to put up some points in this game.
I do. Hey, let's do this. Go ahead and do this. Let's end the third quarter.
It's the end of the third quarter, bitches.
This is the end of the third quarter. Let's go to the fourth quarter. Let's do our predictions, prognostication, and game balls, and let's get ready for this NFC Championship. At the end of this game, somebody's going to be hosting a trophy in CenturyLink Field. We certainly hope it's our defending NFC champion Seattle Seahawks. And let's see what the posse thinks. We'll be right back after this.
You're listening to the 12th Man Fan Jam on the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel.
Well, I hear all that. What is an internet?
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
And now it's time for the fourth quarter of the 12th Man Fan Jam. Here to lead us through the final quarter is once again our host, the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Allen Church of Seahawk Positivity.
Yes, thank you, Magic Voice, the 12th Man Fan Jam. Welcome to the fourth and final quarter of a very special NFC Championship edition of your 12th Man Fan Jam show. We remind you to like, share, and subscribe to the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel. And you can also go on Facebook to the 12th Man Fan Jam Show Facebook page. We'd love to have you on. Talk a little football, share some pictures, and talk about other things. We have a great time on there. I didn't tell the guys this, the posse this, so I'm going to tell you this live. We are having a special guest next week. I've been in contact with Mike Pascal. Mike Pascal, who does the Game Buzz comics.
Oh, fantastic.
He's been on the show. He wants to come back on. I said, how about championship week after we win? And he said that would be fantastic. So next week, Game Buzz himself will be on the show. So look forward to that. Yes,
good deal.
Great host, great guest when he's on. So let's talk about some predictions, some prognostications, and some game balls here. Before we do, the Packers are 7.5 underdogs. So I looked that up, and they're 7.5 points. The Packers have been exactly 7.5 point underdogs 3 times in the last 30 years, and they didn't win any of them. Packers have been 7.5 point underdogs at least or more 3 times in Mike McCarthy era. They've lost all of them. And this year at 7.5, only 2 teams have ever won outright that were underdogs out of about 16. The Packers never have been more than a 6-point underdog at any game started by Aaron Rodgers, and now they're 7.5. 7.5 point spreads win about 22% of the time overall. So you're looking at about an 8% chance for the Seahawks to win. Oh, by the way, do you remember the Seahawks are 25-2 at home when Russell Wilson is their quarterback? So you add all that together, it looks pretty darn good for us. And so I will start with the posse members that are not here. Will, who says he misses fan jamming with us, and we miss you, Will. Will's going to pick the Seahawks 34-21. He says Rodgers tested Sherman and regrets it. Sherman gets a pick 6. He's given his game ball to Lynch, who's going to grind their defense into fine powder, or cheese powder, probably. Wouldn't?
Parmesan.
Yeah, and Dustin, who's also out partying with the 12th man tonight, said, have a good show, guys. Well, thank you, Dustin. I'm going Hawks 27-13. Prognostication, whoever takes Richardson's place as kick returner takes one to the house. Oh, interesting.
Ooh.
Game ball to Wagner. He's going to go crazy and lead the game in tackles while he shuts down Lacey. All right. So now we go live to the people that are actually here, and we will start with our stats man, Mark. Mark, you got a prediction, a prognostication, and a game ball for us, sir.
Yes, I do. And my score is going to be 31-20 Seattle. So I do have them covering that. I do think Green Bay will manage somehow, some way to get some scores. Let's see. And prognostication, I'm going to say that Russell Wilson is going to throw for over 300 yards.
300 yards passing.
And let's see. And then game ball. I'll go with RW again. I know I'm going way out on a limb here, but I'll go with RW.
Going to the quarterback on an NFC Championship. Very, very brave. Matt, great hearing from you today, this evening,
Great to be here.
this morning.
Thanks for being here. Thank you.
What you got for us?
Well, just to say, first and foremost, I'm going down to London to be with the UK Seahawkers at our the Willoughby Arms pub in Kingston upon Thames, where we'll all be down there celebrating this win once we've done it.
Beautiful, beautiful.
So down there, so big shout out to the UK Seahawkers.
Yes.
The score, I think, is going to be. I agree with Mark. I think it will be Seattle 31, Green Bay 14. I think. I've got quite a few prognostications because I've sort of played this game in my head a couple of times. I think first and foremost, I think Green Bay will score first. That doesn't shock me, doesn't surprise me. We have a slow start there. I haven't got a problem with that. I think Aaron Rodgers will be sacked 6 times. And my game ball, that's my prognostication. So I think that's my official one. He'll be sacked 6 times. And my game ball, I'm going to give to Doug Baldwin.
Very nice.
I think he's going to be clutch. I think he's going to be. I think he might even get over 100-yard type thing. We're a run first team, but I think he's going to have a hell of a game.
I think he will too. I agree. I am going to go. I looked at this and I kind of have a feeling in the pit of my stomach that I've had only really 3 times over the last 12 months, and one was when we blew out the 49ers early in the season. I think it was last year.
Did you just say you blew out? You had a feeling in your stomach that
the team blew out the 49ers. And then when I had the same feeling when we played the Saints. And then I had this feeling before the Super Bowl. And those were all blowouts. So I'm going to go with it. And I'm going to say 34-17 Seattle. Not much of a blowout, but I am going to go 34-17. I think the bottom line, I think you're right. I think our offense can score 30 against them. I don't think that they can score 30 against us. So, that being said, 34-17. I think that as a team, as a group, we run for over 200 yards against this team. I think we just pound the ball down their throats for 4 quarters. And I'm giving my game ball to Marshawn Lynch, beast mode. And I will be celebrating, by the way. You gave a shout out. I'd like to give a shout out to the Midwest Seahawkers here in Indianapolis. There's a get-together that we had last week. It was fantastic. And this week we're having another little get-together, so I'll be celebrating with fans here as well. Speaking of celebrating, it's time to start looking forward to this game. And let's get the celebrating going, as it looks like it's time to bring another wonderful and amazing 12th Man Fan Jam show to a sad close. We are so glad that you decided to waste some time with us. It was, as usual, a show that raised the bar here at the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel. We certainly hope you laughed a little, and maybe, just maybe, you learned a little something along the way. And what did we learn this evening? Well, we learned that Ronald Goldman was Employer of the Year for October 1993. You didn't know that. We learned Baltimore has tiny sinks. There must be tiny people over there. And we learned that this upcoming game is going to have a fair amount of sacks? Okay, sacks. And finally, we learned that Mark loves me some me. So, on behalf of my partner in crime from Merry Old England, Matt, and of course, Statsman Mark from Behind Enemy Lines, this is your self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Allen Church of Seahawk Positivity saying, enjoy the NFC Championship game on Sunday, and go Hawks!
Go
Hawks!
Yeah. Thanks for asking.